Well, good morning, Friendship Village. How are you today? This is your host, Phil Porter, coming at you again, and we are bringing you the news and views around Friendship Village. Okay, so we think we have a great show today, but I think I say that every show. Anyway, we really do have a good show today because we have as our special guest, we'll find out more about him later on. His name is Howard Peterson. I'm sure most of you know who he is. So another thing we need to just make clear at the outset here is that this program is being brought to you by the dining staff at Friendship Village. What a great group of dedicated workers. Right, Mary?
Right. I am the co-host.
Mary, you are the co-host. That's right.
Yes, we have a good dining staff here in the kitchens at all of our buildings. They work on the menus. They create wonderful food for us that we never know for sure how it's going to be, and it's always, always good. There's always something good to eat, and we really, really thank them for all their hard work.
I'd like to start also with a couple of jokes if you don't mind. Howard, you don't mind, do you? Okay. Anyway, I read the other day that 4,153 people got married last year in Iowa. 4,153. I don't mean to cause any trouble, but shouldn't that be an even number?
You would think so.
Either 52 or 54, whatever. Okay. Speaking of marriage, I heard this interesting story about this couple who had been married well over 60 years and seemed to have just the ideal marriage. Everyone who knew them just kind of would comment about how great their marriage was. They never seemed to get into a spat or have any difficult times. And so one night, their local church was honoring them for their long-lasting marriage. So one of the people said, David, tell us, what's some of your secrets about having such a great marriage? And he said, well, the first thing we learned along the way was we try to outdo each other being nice. If we can just sort of focus on what can I do now this day to be nice to my spouse, that helps us get over some humps that we might not ordinarily be able to get over. So, and then he recalled another thing about it is that my wife likes to travel. So we've gone many places around the world. And for example, on our 25th wedding anniversary, I took my wife to Shanghai, and the person said, "Well, that sounds like fun, I guess. What'd you do for your 50th wedding anniversary?" He said, "Well, then I went back and got her." Okay.
How nice of him.
How nice, yes. We know our special guest today has a good marriage. So his name is Howard Peterson. Mary, do you have a question for Howard?
Yes, I have several questions for Howard.
Okay.
We welcome you as our guest today, and he's a resident of Friendship Village, been here several years with his wife Phyllis. But we'll start at the beginning. Howard, where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in southeastern Iowa on a farm near Mediapolis, Iowa.
Okay.
And anybody who doesn't know where it is, it's a little town just north of Burlington. I was one of 7 children. Myself being the 6th oldest.
Okay. So you had 5 older and 1 younger.
Right.
Okay.
And you went to school?
Went to school all through high school at Mediapolis. Went to college at Burlington Junior College for a couple of years, and then finished up at the University of Iowa.
And what was your field?
My major was accounting.
Good. Okay. And you secured some jobs after you graduated?
One job. I came to Waterloo and interviewed for a job and took that job, and that's the only job I really had working for someone for 30 years.
Uh-huh. You've done other kind of work, but
I still do some work part-time for some friends of mine here in the local area. Some month-end work and filing some quarterly tax returns and et cetera like that.
So your life was full of numbers.
Full of numbers, yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's a good field to get into. Very good. And
It
then
is.
you met your wife along the way.
I met my wife between my junior and senior years, and she was from Vinton, where I worked at a night costing job in Vinton for the Green Giant packing
Okay.
plant.
Okay.
So, you know, but I met her there, and we got married. We got married in January of the year I graduated.
What, did you just see Phyllis walking down the street and say,
A blind date,
it was a blind date?
right?
Ah.
I don't know who was blind, but
I think you walked into it with your eyes open.
right, right.
Don't they sometimes say love is blind?
Yeah,
Well,
that can be.
can be bad. Okay. Yeah.
And you've been married for how many years?
61 years,
61. Very good.
Yeah.
And you have how many children?
3 children.
Okay.
One of them has deceased.
Okay.
We lost a daughter last August. She was only 56. That's too young to lose your children.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and one of them's in the area, and one lives in Tampa, Florida.
Very good. How many grandchildren?
4, one in Colorado, one in Florida, and 2 in Waterloo.
Very good. So you get to see family.
Somewhat. They're very busy.
Oh, yeah.
They're very busy, and we're really seeing my son-in-law more than we see my son.
Yeah.
So,
But you know they're here.
right, we know they're there. Yeah. Right.
And we understand you like golfing.
I like. Yeah, they still call it golf.
Well,
Some
what,
days.
else, what else would they
Well,
call it?
sometimes you could call it other names.
I see.
Still go- but I
Other
enjoy.
names with a little more color to
That's
it.
right.
Yes,
that's right.
I know
But
what you mean.
I enjoy. Like to get out
Okay.
and like to play a lot of the courses.
And you play with our host here, Phil.
I have played with him individually, and we play on the same golf team.
Good.
That's right. Howard, by the way, beats me all the time.
All the time. You don't give up, though.
No. Well, you have to kind of change your focus about why you want to play golf, and so now it's just a little more relaxed, social. Get out and enjoy the weather and walk around the course. Those are now becoming more important than my actual score.
That's right. You can't worry about your score.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
I know I'm never going to be a pro-like player,
Yeah.
so you just accept what God gives you.
Well, everybody has their sports and their hobbies, and that's one of your hobbies,
Yeah.
is playing golf. And I think that's a great one.
And
Get you out and get exercise and your vitamin D and everything that you need.
You
As
do.
long as your legs are good.
right.
But it's ever so sweet when you hit the ball just right, and it just feels good all over your body and in your arms, and it makes a nice noise and it goes where you want it to go. Those are the kind of shots that bring me back for another week.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Sometimes brings you back for the next hole.
yeah, that's right. Okay, so
I enjoy all the sports. I was in high school. Was in baseball and basketball,
okay,
and I enjoy going to college football games. Used to go to University of Iowa football games till we stopped going a few years ago. It was just too much walking, too much standing.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
They're fun to watch on TV, though.
They are fun.
Yes.
More fun now because you see replays.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I enjoy watching on TV. I've been to a couple games, but I just enjoy watching the ball games on TV.
I've lost interest in pro basketball and also pro baseball,
Yeah.
even though I did like it. Played baseball, played softball.
Yeah. Our likes change as we get older. And do you take part in some of the activities here at the village?
We try to as much as we can. There's more that we could or should, but time will tell.
Howard is the current chairman of the resident council,
Good.
so that's an impressive position.
Yes, it is.
He's one of the guys that sort of keeps things organized and keep us on our toes and kind of, right?
Makes up the questions.
Makes up good questions, that's right.
Well, we need leaders like that. We
Yeah.
need people that like to be in charge, and will do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you want to ask him about his other little hobby that's red?
Oh, a little hobby that's red. That reminds me of a red convertible. And what's the story behind that, Howard? When did you get the bug, so to speak?
I've always had the bug of having a convertible,
Okay.
and nearest to a convertible is back in the '60s. I owned a 1960, 50 Chevy. They called it the convertible, but they really is a hardtop. Okay. So I always had a dream of having a convertible sometime. But I always thought, well, in the summertime it's too hot in Iowa.
Okay.
So kind of dismissed that idea.
And in the winter it's too cold.
And well, winter is you just put the windows up and the top down up, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Because they're warm enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, but my wife came home one day and she says, "Guess what I saw today?" Oh my gosh, what did you see today? Because last time she said that we bought a house.
Okay. So so dollar signs flashed through your mind, huh?
No, it wasn't the dollar signs. It was.
Oh.
I just began to wonder. She said,
Okay.
I saw a convertible today. Really? I said, what color? She said, red. I said, dear, you know that red cars aren't good for ladies because you can get picked up speeding. Well, the conversation went for about another week, and we bought it.
Okay. She convinced you.
She convinced me. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. And you're right. The first day we had it was a day of probably about 50 degrees.
Oh.
And so we got the car, took it up, put the top down, rolled the windows up, turned the heater on, away we went.
And does it sit out here in our parking lot?
It's in the garage.
Oh, it's in a garage. Okay.
So but you have a second car, so
We have a second car.
your everyday second car sits outside.
Yeah. It's a 2007, so it's in 60,000 miles, so it's in pretty good shape.
Oh yeah, that sounds real good.
Yeah.
Yes, my husband and I had a red convertible also. That was his dream, like yours, to have one because he rode in convertibles with friends when he was in high school and beyond. And one day he was walking to work and parked at a gas station was a red convertible. It had a little dollar sign on it, and so he went and found out who it belonged to and called the guy and talked about it, came home and told me I might buy a red convertible. And I said, if you want to spend the money, that's okay. And it wasn't real expensive. It was not a real expensive. And I don't remember the year, but he called the guy and he bought the convertible, and we had quite a few years of fun riding around in the convertible. So, and our grandkids, as our grandkids got a little bit older, he put as many as he could into it. I don't think we had seatbelts not in the back. There might have been a couple of them in the front, but we piled about 4 little kids in the back seat. They'd be scrunched in there so they wouldn't fall out anyway. And he'd take them for rides around, and they loved it. They just loved it. I don't know if they remember it as much because they were little, but they might remember Grandpa's red convertible, and I have pictures to show. So convertibles are fun. They are fun.
And it's I always thought it'd be too lightweight to be on the road with these big trucks and big cars, but it's surprising to how it handles on the highway. Right, smooth.
Oh, good.
Right.
Good.
Good.
Well, listen, I'm going to interrupt at this point, and just to make another couple other mentions here. One of them is we're glad for the kitchen staff. That's our sponsor for today's program, and I just would urge our listeners, whenever you encounter one of those dedicated kitchen staff, just tell them how much you appreciate the good things that they do, and the good food they serve, and the friendly looks on their faces when they're doing their work. So we do appreciate that. So our hats off to the dining staff of Friendship Village.
And they go above and beyond sometimes because we have special dinners. We'll have a brunch, or we'll have a theme dinner, or we'll have different occasions, and they really do put a lot of work into planning those because that takes extra time, extra ingredients, but it always turns out so good, and we're very, very thankful. I know people do walk back there to the kitchen to thank them.
And we're interviewing Howard Peterson, of course, and I just want our listeners to know that we would like to have more people volunteer to come in and be interviewed for our podcast. And so if you might at all be interested, we just encourage you to let the office staff know in the building you're living in. Let the office staff know of your desire to be a guest on our program, and they'll get that information to us, and we'll see that it happens.
And it doesn't hurt at all.
Howard, there you go.
You don't get paid for it, but it doesn't hurt.
The pay is good, right?
Pay is good, yeah.
Oh yes. Thank you, Howard. And now I just have a public service announcement I'd like to share with our listeners. Is I don't know how you'll take this news. It could be a little sad, but anyway, what I recently learned is that they don't make toothpicks any longer. Really? And, of course, they don't make them any shorter either. There we go. For
the laughter.
the laughter, yeah, right. Okay. Okay. The other thing I'd like to mention is my aunt Hildegard called me up the other day, and she had a strange encounter with a young man who was walking through her neighborhood, and she lives near Chicago, and so the man was going door to door trying to get some donations for a local pool to be put in the neighborhood. So Hildegard, or my aunt Hildegard, thought that sounded like a good idea. So she went to her kitchen and came back with a glass of water and said, "Here, this is for your new pool."
Again, we enjoy
Okay.
Phil's jokes. We enjoy Phil's
Oh,
jokes.
thank you. Well, let's
They're
get
short
back.
but sweet.
Short but sweet. Let's get back to our interview. Howard has some more interesting things to share. I know he does. Right, Howard?
I hope so.
Okay. And tell us again, how long have you been here? How many years? It's
We'll be here 3 years this coming next month.
3 years next month. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, and you've been in your same room
Right.
all that 3
Mhm.
years. Okay. So
What do you like best about living here?
Well, it may not be the best idea, but it's there's no, I don't have to shovel snow,
Right?
mow the yard, pick up leaves, and do other
clean the gutter.
maintenance jobs to the house. And so we had a 2-story, 4-bedroom house, and that was
They required a lot of maintenance, and we've all found that out by selling our homes and moving here, and how much we appreciate all the amenities that are offered to us. So we all enjoying, I would say, almost being pampered.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole idea here was life care, and that
Yeah.
was finally the thing that sold me on
Yeah. Okay.
on coming here.
It sold me too.
Yeah. That was a big consideration.
Because when we were 50 or 60 years old, never dreamed about that. But as you got older, people started getting a little sick. People weren't as healthy, and a place to be.
Right. We're happy for that program that they have brought about for us to take part in.
Yeah.
We
Life
see
care. You're talking
life
yeah.
care, yes. The
And
life
our
care.
our 2 daughters have said a time or two that they really appreciate life care because it sort of is a burden off of their shoulders.
That's
to
right.
kinda have to step in and take care of their father, sometimes.
My daughters think the same thing.
Yeah.
They thought the same thing, that I've been well taken care of when I needed care.
Well, I see many friends of ours who don't live here. That one of the spouses is ill and requires a lot of hospital care,
Okay.
a lot of home care, and you just think if they'd only would have discovered being here,
Yeah.
it'd take the burden off one of the spouses.
Yeah.
So, because a lot of people want to still stay in their house as long as they can, and you wonder why.
Well, let me ask Howard. Let me ask you this question. After we moved in, maybe we were here like a year before you moved in, but we discovered that we probably brought too much stuff. We were thinning out our household at home. It was a 3-bedroom kind of a two-story kind of a unit, and so we had accumulated a lot of stuff after about 30 years in the same place, and so we thought, well, we're really going to thin it out. But when we got here and discovered all the things we brought with us, it was still too much. Did you find that to be the case?
Well, we knew really kind of in advance because we have some people who live here and talked about the things they brought, and we assessed. We saw them fixing our room, so we knew what kind of square footage we had.
Okay.
And our biggest concern was the king size bed going to fit in the room?
Mm-hmm.
So I was over here several times measuring the walls.
Did it fit?
It did fit, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So,
Good.
and we knew that we could bring a lot of things over that we liked to have, curio cabinets and other
Yeah.
other tables and kitchen table and chairs and dining room table and chairs was not going to fit here anywhere. So we did pretty good. I think we did a pretty good job of thinning it out and getting rid of the
Okay.
things that we didn't bring.
Yeah.
So,
And Phil and I have both had to downsize once again when we lived over in Park Lane, and then we moved over here to Village Place. Then it was again move, and what do you really need to take with you, and what can you get rid of? And
That's right.
so we did that again. So
my wife said, reason she really wanted to come here. She said, "I want to move one more time, and that'll be it for our life."
we thought that too.
Yep.
So we looked at Landmark Commons, and we knew that if we lived there, we'd have to move another time
Yeah. Okay.
to here.
Hey, look at the clock on the wall. Wow, we only have just a short time left for this interview with Howard, our very interesting guest. Howard, we thank you again for being here.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
And do you have any closing thoughts?
Yes, I have a parting thought here that I ran across. As long as we have 3 people with beautiful white hair and other things, it says wrinkles mean you have laughed.
Oh,
Gray hair means you have cared. Scars mean you have lived.
Oh man,
hey, there.
I think it's all true.
We all qualify for that.
Yes, we all qualify.
Good words. Good words. Good words to bring our program to a close here. And if you meet Howard out in the hall, you might want to ask him a question or two about his red convertible. I'm sure he has more stories to tell us about that adventure than we heard today. So once again, thank you, Howard. And we're winding up this program. And as we like to do every time, let me just close with these words. May the good Lord bless and keep you until we meet again. Bye, Friendship Village.
Goodbye and take care.
oh man.